So in this video, I'm going to teach you how to use variables and operators. So let's go ahead and start on that. Go ahead and insert a script into server-script service. Delete this. And then a variable is something that holds a value. So I'll show you what I mean by that. So in order to make a variable, type in the local keyword and then whatever variable name you want. So it could be apple, or it could be dog, or it could be just any letters. For me, I'm going to type in number. And then by default, variables come with no value. So if I were to print this number right now and then run this, you can see it prints nil, and nil just means no value. So let's go ahead and assign a value to it. To assign a value, you need to use an equal sign and then whatever value you want. So I'm just going to put in 100. And then if we were to run this right now, it would print 100. So this is a number value type. So we know that this variable holds the 100 value, and then we can also change the value of this variable. So we can do number is equal to 10 and then print that. And then we'll change it again to something totally different. I like cats, and then print that again. And then we can go and run this in the command bar right here. You can see it prints 100, 10, and then I like cats. So with the local keyword is how you create a variable, and then without the local keyword is how you update the existing variable. And then I'll go ahead and make a couple more variables. So I'm going to type in text. So I'll make a variable called text, and I'm going to set it to a string. I like cats. And remember, a string is just text with these quotes around it. String value type. And I can go ahead and print the text. You can see it prints I like cats. Then I'm going to make a couple more. So I'm going to make another variable. I'm just going to call this one boolean. And I'm going to set it to true. And this is a boolean value type. So the main difference between boolean and string is that a boolean doesn't have quotes around it. And a boolean can only be true or false. So I'll go ahead and print boolean right here. Run it. You can see it prints true. And then I can also put false, and it prints false. So a boolean can only be true or false. And then you can also store a object into a variable. So I'll go ahead and insert this part right here. Make a variable for the part. So I'm just going to call this cube is equal to, and then we need to locate the object in order to store it. So the object is in the game. So we'll type in game dot. And then its next is in workspace, so dot workspace, and then the name of the object, which is dot part. And then we can also print the cube. You can see it prints the name of the object right there. So if you watched my last video, I did something where I printed the part's transparency. So right now transparency to 0. I'll set it to 0.5. And then I'll go ahead and print the transparency of that. Go ahead and run it. And you can see it prints 0.5. And then you can do this for any other properties as well. So I can do it for the color. And let's see, the reflectance, I guess. And if I were to run this now, you can see it prints all those values right there. So the problem with this is that it gets really long, because you can see it does game.workspace.part like multiple times. And it'll get even longer if it's in like a model or something. Let's say I make this into a model like this. Then I would have to do game.workspace.model.part for each one. And you can see I have to change it for each line too. So that gets really tiring really fast. So instead what you can do is, so I'll put this back in workspace and delete the model. So instead what you do is, you store the object into this variable right here, and instead of doing the game.workspace thing, because you already done that and you stored it, we can just do cube.transparency, and then we can go ahead and run this. You can see it does the same thing. And let's go ahead and print some other properties right here. So cube.transparency, and then let's do the color, and then let's do the size, I guess. And we're to run this, you can see it prints all 3 of those values correctly. So, and then what's really cool about variables is that, let's say we move this cube, right? Let's say I want to move it into lighting, right? And then instead of changing it for each one, I just have to change the variables. Instead of workspace, I do game.lighting because the part is under lighting now. And if I were to run this, you can see it still works. And I don't have to change 3 separate things. I can just change the variable. And then I'll give you another example. Let's say we have it as a model again, like we did before. And then instead of changing it 3 times, we just change this line right here. So right now it's under workspace. And then now it's under the model. And then if we were to run this, it would still work. So that's why variables are really handy, because it can shorten a lot of the code and make coding a lot faster. So next up, I'll teach you about operators. So let's go and delete these variables. We don't need them anymore. But we'll still keep the number. So there are a couple operators. So the first one is the addition operator. So number plus 10. So the plus operator, let me zoom in a little bit. So the plus operator will add these 2 numbers. So 100 plus 10, that should give us 110. Like so. And you don't necessarily need a variable either. You could just type in 100 right here. Like so. But it's usually better to use a lot of variables because it's a bit more readable. And then we can also do subtraction. So instead of plus, we do minus. So minus 10, so that should give us 90. Yep, 90. And then multiplication is this little star symbol right here, just your 8 key. And I'm going to run this. Number times 10, that's 1,000. And then the division is this symbol right here. So that's number divided by 10, that should give us 10. 10. And then we also have the exponent operator. So this is a square right here. Let's go and run this. You can see it prints 10,000 because 100 times 100 is 10,000. And then there's also the modulus operator, which is like, it's kind of like division, but it gives you the remainder. So you can see here right there. Don't worry too much about the modulus operator if you don't understand it. You'll mostly just be using addition and subtraction most of the time. And then remember what's important is also the order of operations. So please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. I don't know if you ever heard of that, but this is the order of operations. So this means parentheses. So parentheses, spell that wrong, but whatever. Exponent. And then multiplication or division, addition or subtraction. So what does this mean? So let's say I did, let's go and get rid of this variable. So let's say I did 5 plus 2 times 2, right? So if I did something like this, does the 5 plus 2 run first, or does the 2 times 2 run first and then adds 5? So this is where the order of operations is important. So based on this acronym right here, so parentheses, exponents, multiplication is higher. So this would do 2 times 2 first, and then it will add 5 right afterwards. So that should be 9. Yep, 9 right there. And if it was addition first, it'd be, so let's say it was addition first. 5 plus 2 is 7, times 2 is 14. So in this case, it's multiplication first, and then addition. And in order to remember the order of operations, just remember the saying, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, and that is the order of operations. And that is in the end of the video, guys. Feel free to give it a like, subscribe, and join my Discord if you want to talk with me or any other developer. And also comment down below if you want any other tutorials.